Welcome everybody. Welcome at Ask the Professor. You already saw my colleague, Professor Zille Lee. He's talking about 3 questions you get and the answers. And I'm really happy that we have really a lot of questions from your side. And I'd like to give some answers today on that part too. For especially we zoom in on typical questions from the first week. And we have some questions about operations. And I'd like to see what is really asking you to me. Let's see. When I look at what you really asked me was really detailed questions about what's really in a certain case. But I think it is too much for now to give an answer on it. And I think I like to give that and also give a guide to you. Please follow the other courses which will come after this MOOC. Because this is really important for you, that you can see what is really the case when you are riding and traveling with the train on the infra. With the MOOC we only zoom in on the design and on just in a case. But I think the following up courses are really good to see which cases are there and how you can solve the problems with cases, and that makes it very practical. So what I give as advice is, please read the instructions you see in the MOOC. It's maybe a little dense information, but okay, we have a limited time to show you how it works and what to do. And I think this is really important that you have this message, how this works at the end. So my advice, please read it again, and maybe again give you a mindset, and therefore I'm sitting here, standing here with the frog. This is how it works like operations 2. The train can passing over and have a choice of 2 parts. Therefore it's called the frog, a cross you could say. And then which part the train will take. And then so you have to manage that. And operations is like a switch, how to manage the train in the right direction. And also you get disturbances like a switch, but also in operations you get disturbances. It could be weather, it could be falling out of some technical problems with rolling stock, but okay, that's life. So you have to make a decision on your own, and what decision you have to make. That's also you learn now some tools, but at the end you also learn how to do with cases and how to react when you have operations problems. I'd like to have another question and I'd like to discuss with you here in our Laboratory of Railway Engineering at TU Delft. And let's have a look on that. Many questions were talking about what is X-box acceleration and what can we do with that? And is there some experience and what is the status quo at the moment here in Holland? And I think I'm really happy that you asked for this, because the new thing of maintenance would be differentiation of maintenance and not take it all over your network, because that's the loss of money and budget is also limited. So how to make this clear and where to go on and do maintenance just on the spot where it is needed. And X-box acceleration is a nice one to do because it is on board. You can put it just on a regular train, so you can put it in the normal operations, and you have every day some research and data for that. So that could be very interesting to see what can we do about it with maintenance. And therefore I like to give you a link on the next presentation date. This movie will come on the internet for you, that you have a link to this animated video how to do X-box acceleration and what it is and what it can do. At the moment we have more details how X-box works, because we can also see and detect internal cracks in the material, especially at thermite welds. And that's really an amazing breakthrough, because without ultrasound and ultrasonic measurement techniques, we don't need that anymore to see internal cracks out of a running train. I think that's marvelous to see, and therefore it is also nice X-box acceleration. When you have it on the train, you have it every day and every moment you like. And then big data is the only way how to get the right information out of it. And that's the status at the moment we're doing now. And I think the movie, the animated movie about X-box acceleration, about the technique, will help you what we are doing here in Delft. Another question I got from you was, is it really safe when we get current through the rail bars when I'm passing over a level crossing? Because why don't I get any shock or whatever? A good question, of course, but of course it is safe. Otherwise, we have more than 2,000 level crossings in Holland, and that would be too dangerous when people cannot going over when they get a shock or whatever. But what is behind this? And I think that's the question. When the current is going through, we have a nice big cross-section. So the high current, say 2000 amperes is normal, has to go through this and without any resistance. Otherwise, the current will look another way and then you get problems. So when you look at this, the rail bar and the cross-section, and you like to make, for example, a thermite weld, then you have to cut the rail like here, and then you see here, for example, the weld. But when you cut the rail and there is still current going through, you have to make a bypass by a cable or whatever. Otherwise, it is really dangerous about this high amperage. Because when you don't do it and you cut the rail, you can get some mismatch of the current, and the current will go through anyhow. So when you are a thermite welder, you don't have any bypass and there is still return current. You cut it and you make this weld. You have to do the alignment with a metal ruler. And when you don't use that well, then it could be welding the ruler against the rail bar. So it is really dangerous, and therefore you have to always use this bypass. So the main message is be aware there's a high current and you need a bypass when you cut the rail, and then it is dangerous when you don't do that. The last question I like to discuss is the question about what about the sparks you can get from the catenary. It's a good question because there's a lot of things why you could get some problems with sparking, and that's just a mismatch between the pantograph and the power line. That's really the problem, but you could say what is really the issues when you can get these problems. For example, I have here some wires, and when there is a connection because there is a weld or whatever or an insulator, then you could say, okay, when the gap in between here could be big, and then when just the pantograph is just sliding over, you can imagine that a lot of problems will occur when you hit this wire here because it is very massive, and then you can get really flaking off of this coil. So when this is connected well, then still you could give some problems with sparking, and that's especially in the morning, because at the night there are no trains, and mostly, and therefore you get some water against this wire. So when you have water in between, and also the real good connection, the dynamics of the pantograph and the power line is always a nice match, but always not completely well matched. And therefore you get some gaps in between. Normally when it's air you get sparks, arcs you could say, and when it is water in between, then it is just because of the heat, it's flaking off because of the steam which is coming off. And therefore you get these nice sparks. It's not good for the system, it's always nice in the night, of course. Another way is when it's freezing. And when it is freezing, you get some special snow, you could say, on this wire. And that's also very tricky to get sparks. So when it is really a little freezing outside in the morning and the first train is going over, take a look in your own country. That would be nice. Thank you for all your nice questions I have. I was really impressed. It's really a long list, and I have a luxury that I have to choose. So that's a good sign. Sorry for the others, I cannot answer all of you. But please keep the mood high and just go on with the MOOC. I think it's really exciting also for us, because we are really involved in the discussion forums, etc. So I really like and also enjoy every week we go on with this. So about 2 weeks, I'm back. So please keep the mood high. Fill in some nice questions to me, and maybe I can pick you out and give you a direct answer. Good luck.